At a top robotics company in Japan this week, 4 robots being developed for military applications killed 29 humans in the lab. And they did it by shooting what he called metal bullets. The scariest part is that lab workers deactivated 2 of the robots, took apart the 3rd. But the 4th robot began restoring itself and somehow connected to an orbiting satellite to download information about how to rebuild itself even more strongly than before.
Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes.
At a top...
Mark Elon Musk's words, dog. It's here.
Yeah, but those clips are not related. Someone just took what Elon said and mashed it onto like some crazy lady's
No, they
rambling.
did. No, they didn't. Don't be a denier. Yeah, I mean, I just got that sent to me by some homies, and I was like, nah, I don't think that's the case, dude.
No, it's definitely not the case. There was some like crazy conspiracy lady who's like an alien abduction conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, I know. It was it scared me, I'll tell you that much.
No, it didn't.
I loaded my 41 mag and I'm ready to go, dude, just in case my phone like somehow turns on me.
What if your headphones start strangling you in the middle of the interview?
Yup. That's how it's going to go, you know? You just never know. Like Elon Musk says, AI is, you know, the number one fear of his. Speaking of Elon Musk, you know, I've been talking a lot of crap on him, and I'm starting to like him a lot.
Okay, why?
Well, he just came out with this video I was going to show you, but it's like a $10,000 home. It's like a smart home. It just all folds up, and he's like, these are $10,000, and they look actually pretty cozy, and they can like withstand a hurricane and all sorts of stuff. And then you got on the top, there's what is it that absorbs like the sun, and then it
a solar panel.
Thank you. Yes. The solar panel. And so there's solar panels on the top, so your electric bill is like, you don't have one because unless it's a cloudy day, I guess. But yeah, it's really interesting. He's making it right now, and just like everything else he makes, it's gonna take forever to hit the market. But I'm just proud of him. I'm like, dang, I mean, I'm paying $3,000 a month for a bucket, and I mean, I could buy one of his in 3.5 months. That sounds nice to me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you ain't gonna be able to set it up in California though. The property tax is gonna be like $10,000 a month or something.
I know. This I know. But maybe I could just set it out in the desert somewhere and I'd be good.
I guess it in like the high desert, by Palm Springs or something.
I could be like that uncle off of is it called the Chevy Chase? Yeah, Chevy Chase.
Oh, National Lampoons?
Yeah, I could be like that
Cousin
uncle.
Eddie?
Yeah, Cousin Eddie, dude.
Yeah.
I rewatched that the other day. It is such a good movie, and it's whenever they go to the Hoover Dam, and the guy's like, you can ask me any damn question. He's like, take all the damn pictures you want, and you can ask me any damn questions you like. And then he's like, yeah, where can I get the damn bait? Like, I love that guy. And then his daughter, they go out to visit on the Vegas vacation one. They go out to visit him, and he's got like this real estate out in the desert in Nevada, and his daughter comes home. He's like, do that dance for me. And she does like this stripping dance. He's like, I taught her everything she knows. I love that dude.
I think Christmas Vacation is the best one though.
That one is good. I like them all.
Yeah.
I like them all.
Yeah, they're good. I just feel like the Christmas one, I always watch it every Christmas, so maybe I just have more like of a tradition associated with it or something.
I got you.
Yeah.
It's the only one I've never I've kind of watched, but I haven't watched like the one where they go to California. I watched a lot. Then the Vegas Vacation one I watched a lot, but the Christmas one I haven't. But every time Christmas rolls around, I always see the memes for it.
Yeah.
So
it's almost that time of year again, dude. It's almost spooky season, and then Christmas, man. This year went fast.
Spooky, and then turkey, and then Christmas.
Yeah.
It did go fast. It was going slow at the beginning, but then it just all of a sudden picked up over summer, and now we're here. So how's the weather like? I know that's random, but earlier this week it was like flooding in Dallas, right?
Yeah, it flooded. I guess they said we got a summer's worth of rain in one day or something like that. So it was pretty bad, but it's all gone now. It's just one day. All ran away. I don't know. A few people died because I assume they were being idiots and tried to drive through, waist high running water. When I was on the way to work in the morning, which was like 5 a.m., I couldn't take any of my exits because they were all flooded. And all of the exits had at least one car that was stuck with cops trying to pull it out. So people here in Texas have no idea how to handle the rain. Like a little rain, they go crazy and everyone's crashing. So this was like, I don't know, I want to say like 13 inches. That might be too much, but it was something crazy like that.
Well, you would think Dallas, you would think Texas, like they understand the weather because you guys get snow, you guys get rain, and you guys, why do they
Yeah,
suck?
I don't know, man. They're terrible drivers in general. Uh, just really really bad. And it doesn't really snow, so anytime there's any ice or anything, it's crazy terrible. With the rain, yeah, I don't know. There's plenty of storms, so you'd think that they knew what was going on, but traffic slows down by like 30 miles an hour, even if it's sprinkling just a little bit, and still people are crashing all over the place. So I don't know. I don't have an explanation for it.
Sounds like California. Sounds like all the
Yeah,
Californians moved out there.
they did. Oh my gosh, dude, we were working on something today at work, and I found this stat that since 2008, 700,000 Californians have moved to Texas.
700,000.
Yeah, so almost a million Californians have moved to Texas in the last 15 years.
Why do you think that is?
What do you mean, what do I think that is? It's because your taxes, well, first of all, your state tax is, I don't know, like 10% or something, and Texas doesn't have a state income tax. Your housing costs are twice as much as they are in Texas. The murder rates are higher. Everything sucks out there, dude. What do you mean, why do I think people move to Texas?
I mean, touche. Yeah, I guess I get it, but like is it I'm shocked people don't move to like I don't know, Tulsa, Oklahoma, or maybe they are. You know what I
They
mean? Maybe.
will, and they are a little bit, but it's just kind of, at least Dallas and Nashville and Miami have that big city vibe still that people can go to. But then the thing is, they all move to these cities, and then the property costs go up. And so now people are starting to go up to Oklahoma City. So my theory on this is, in about 10 years, Wichita is going to start getting a lot of this.
Yeah.
I
Kansas
really
City.
think so. Kansas City, Wichita, Omaha, Nebraska. Like, it's going to keep going up towards the middle of the country. Because Dallas is getting just as expensive as a lot of places in California. I mean, not quite that bad, but it's definitely more expensive now than it was 5 years ago.
I was on that flight to Cancun, and I sat next to this guy who was in real estate from Nashville.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, California's crazy, man. The 2 bedrooms like $3,000." He's like, "Oh yeah, same with Nashville." And I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, "Who would pay $3,000 to live in Nashville?" Like, you know what I mean, though?
People from
Like,
California.
I guess, dude. I don't think it's sustainable, though. I don't think.
No, the housing prices, like, they didn't crash, but they fell pretty hard today.
Really?
Yeah, so they dropped for the first time in 3 years. I think, again, don't quote me on these numbers. I could actually tell you, but it was the biggest price drop since 2011.
Well, I have a
Yeah.
friend. I have a buddy who just bought an $800,000 house in Chino Hills, and he's been looking to buy a house ever since I've known him for like the last 3 years. And so he calls me. We were supposed to go golfing Friday, but something fell through. So I called him. I was like, "Hey, I can't golf." I was like, "Congratulations on your house, though. That's awesome." And I go, "If you don't mind me asking, how much is your monthly bills?" And he's like, "It's $5,000 a month." His mortgage, and
His mortgage is
that's like
$5,000 a month.
yeah, that's like a locked in, that's like a locked in.
Right.
Locked in rate. Yeah, so like that dude's paying $5,000 a month. You know, I was gonna have my brother on, but we're gonna have him on right now. Okay, he's here.
You're putting me on right now?
I'm putting you on blast, bro.
Dude, put him on. Where's his
Pickleball
Skype?
right now.
Like,
You're
he's
playing
the tech man.
pickleball?
Yeah.
All right.
Tell him to come on when he's done.
I need a FaceTime. Fuck it, I'll do it.
Yeah, we could probably do a FaceTime. Don't worry, just call me when you're done playing pickleball.
I'll text you when I'm done.
Well,
Yeah,
the issue is I can't find you on Skype because I was gonna add you, but
it should just be Jeremy J. Logan.
all right, okay. I think I found it. I think I have that. I tried to call, but it didn't work.
I haven't.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't call because I'm not logged in either.
Lane's got you, so Lane will call you.
All right, cool.
All right, peace.
Cool. All right, peace.
He's too busy playing pickleball. For everybody that wants to know, Jeremy's a savage at pickleball. He plays in tons of tournaments, and he's addicted to it, almost just like I am golf. But what were we talking about? Oh yeah, we were talking about my buddy's mortgage rate is at $5,000 a month. That's locked in. So he's got 30-something years of paying $5,000 a month, and he's like, yeah, me and my wife, we can handle it. It's just $2,500 each. His wife cuts hair, I guess, and in my head, I'm like, well, when you have your kid,
who does she cut hair for? Brad Pitt?
Dude, women pay a lot of money for their haircuts, like $400. Like my sister-in-law, she got her hair. She recently got her hair dyed, and she wanted it a certain way, and they didn't do it the way she wanted it, and she still paid them $400 just for dye.
That sounds like a good use of finances.
I mean, yeah, but that's just I don't know anything about girl hair, but it's clearly got a lot of money involved in it. That's for sure. What's good in Texas though? I haven't talked to you, or you haven't been on the podcast for a month. How's
2 months probably?
Yeah, you just busy searching up all this China, Ukraine stuff, or what?
I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, probably it's not good. But the Ukraine stuff is kind of not in the news cycle very much anymore, which says a lot about Americans' attention span because it's still really bad and it's just as bad as it was. But for some reason, we just don't care anymore. Everyone thought it was the most important thing ever, and it kind of was, and it still is. But now people just don't care because it's old news, which is stupid.
It was 100 people a day are dying on each side, right?
I'd assume so, yeah.
Or maybe it's I don't know. Joe Rogan had this CIA agent on recently, an ex-CIA, and the guy's like, yeah, it's about 100 deaths a day on both sides, and so right now there's 20,000 each dead on both sides, which is quite a bit. Is Putin doing anything crazy, or you get nervous about anything, or no?
Well, so there's this lady guy. I don't remember what her name is. I could
Oh, I know. I heard about
the
this
assassination, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Daria Dugina, and she's one of Putin's right hand men's daughter.
Yes.
And
they call him the brain of Putin.
Yeah, and she got assassinated, and they immediately blamed it on Ukrainian special forces. And I think they said they found her ID somewhere, which makes no fucking sense. If you're a special forces agent and you're going to do an assassination, you're not going to bring your government issued identification with you. So that doesn't make sense.
No.
It seems more likely to me that they probably just killed her because that Putin probably killed her to either justify doing something in Ukraine or because he was mad at her because she was mouthing off quite a bit.
Yeah, she was like a newscaster, right, or a reporter maybe.
I don't know what her job was, but she basically thought that she knew how to run the country better than it was being run, and she told people that. She kept criticizing the military, and she's like, well, if I was the Secretary of Defense or whatever the equivalent is in Russia, that they wouldn't be sustaining these losses and they'd be doing a lot better. And that's not really something that you can say.
No.
So there seems to be a lot of incentive for Putin to have had her whacked. I don't know if that's true, but I think that's more plausible than a Ukrainian special forces person going after her, which seems to make no sense because that doesn't strengthen their position at all.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there was a special force ops team. We're going to get this girl that doesn't have really anything to do with any of the decisions that are being made. Yeah, that's the communist way, dude. That's the scariest part of, America in the future in 40, 50 years, whatever. If it did have a communist takeover somehow, you can't say anything bad about the government. How shitty would that be to just have to censor yourself? And I don't even want to think about it because it's so it's non-human. It's just, I'm so freaking American, the freedom of speech thing. if it ever went communist, I would probably die really fast because I won't shut up. But
Right.
but so I have some friends and stuff that like to talk to me about their theories of what's happening in the world. You got to hear this
Okay.
one. You
I'm
got to hear
I'm
this
I'm
one,
excited to hear these.
dude. This one is out there. So today I heard from a friend that he came up to me and I was like, "So where you at now? Where's your head at now?" And he's like, "Oh, dude, Ukraine is gonna nuke, or Russia's gonna nuke the UK. They're gonna wipe it out."
The UK.
Yeah. So he's like,
Why?
"UK. I don't know. I guess like I guess Canada has to send a part to Russia. This is what he was telling me, a part to Russia to connect the pipeline so they could feed the UK. Anyways, let me this is like a 10-year stint that this guy's talking about.
Okay. Yeah. I don't have any
So,
idea what any of this is, but
okay. So his thoughts were Russia's going to nuke the UK and bam, the UK is going to be off the map. And then since we have Joe Biden as our leader, we're not going to do anything about it, you know. And we're just going to and then they're going to what did he say? He said something about China. Something's going to happen to where the blue hats have to come into America and the real patriots will fight.
who are the blue hats?
Blue hats is the UN, the
Oh,
United
okay.
Nations.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. And I just was like, and then he was telling me about how the food shortages are real, and I'm like, I don't know about that, man, because like I go to the food store right now, and every place I go to has plenty of like food, and on top of it, Denton Clark, he just got done harvesting. My boy Luke got done harvesting. They all did good, you know what I mean? And then Dusty Sharts, I asked his dad, or I asked him, how's his dad doing with his cattle? And he's like, he's doing fine. He's doing great. And so I'm asking him, where's the food shortages coming from? And he's just like, you'll see. You'll see. And I'm like, I'm not going to see because right now my homies are making all this wheat and corn and then raising these cattle. I'm like, what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people have been buying into this fear mongering because fear mongering sells just like CNN sells, just like Fox sells. It sells like podcasts sell off fear mongering.
So what is his claim? Dusty's claim?
No, it's not Dusty.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
I'll just label him my friend. I won't put him on blast.
So he said that there's going to be a food shortage.
He said we're not going to make it to 2024. Like I'm like,
Oh no. Well, that seems a little insane. There's definitely going to be a global food shortage, 100%. Like
okay, tell me
that's
about
for
that.
sure. So part of it is because Ukraine is one of the biggest suppliers of wheat in the entire world, and they supply to northern Africa and the Middle East quite a bit. Well, a lot of reasons their supply was disrupted because of the war. Either they had a bunch of wheat at ports that Russia wouldn't let get out and it rotted, or they couldn't plant wheat when the farmers needed to plant wheat during growing season. Obviously, Russia's industrial capacity is not going to be at full strength either, and they're also a huge exporter of wheat. I think Russia's the biggest exporter of wheat in the world, if I'm not mistaken, close to it. But either way, they're both top producers and they supply a lot of the Middle East and Northern Africa. So that wheat is just not going to exist for a number of reasons, a lot of them related to the war. And so therefore, the Africans aren't going to have enough wheat. The Middle Easterners aren't going to have enough wheat, and they all eat bread, like tons of bread. So they're not going to have wheat to make their bread. So there's some of the food shortage right there. Another reason you're going to have food shortages is because of all this. The fertilizer is really expensive now. A lot of these chemicals that we use to make, like nitrates that are used to make chemical fertilizers, come from Russia. And so I don't know what they're doing. They're restricting their supply. They're not going to, obviously, if we're putting a bunch of sanctions on them, they're not going to sell to us, or we're just not going to buy from them because we have sanctions on those things. So however it happens, the fertilizer is going to be restricted. A bunch of countries are putting limitations on who can use chemical fertilizers. So Canada says, okay, you have to use organic fertilizers, and the Netherlands is saying the same thing, and Sri Lanka is doing the same thing. So all these countries that use chemical fertilizer to increase the yield of their crops, which is a lot. Like without chemical fertilizer, we could not feed the planet. And all of a sudden, like, oh, actually, you can't use this anymore because it's bad for the environment, whatever. So you have three reasons right there. One is that the wheat supply and the crop supply from Central Asia is threatened because of the war. Fertilizer exports are threatened because of sanctions and lack of production in those countries. And then certain governments are shutting down the use of chemical fertilizer. So right there, you're going to see the yields on all these crops drop. So we'll be fine. The United States will be fine. We're still going to have plenty of food. It's the countries in the Middle East, Northern Africa, maybe Central Asia that are going to suffer the most. But the thing is, when the supply globally goes down, that means the price on the global market goes up. So even though we're not going to be short of food, it's going to cost more for sure. So we'll be fine. We'll be paying more for food, I would guess. But people in Africa and the Middle East are definitely going to be starving because they're not going to have any wheat.
Wheat makes like a whole bunch of food. Like does it make like ramen noodles and stuff like that? Or what is noodles made out of?
I would assume that's made from rice.
Flour.
Those
That's
are
made of flour. Yeah.
They could be rice noodles too. I don't know what ramen's made of. But either way, it makes bread. And bread's the number one consumed food in the entire world. So.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
No, I hate to see that happen to these countries, and like, are they warned now? And then not only that, you can't really grow food in those areas, huh?
No, you can't grow food in the desert.
No, I know.
And they're already rioting. Like if you look to Egypt or if you look to Sri Lanka's whole government collapsed.
Yeah, I saw that. That's what that was about.
That was a lot of it. There's a lot of other policies that the president had that were not great, but the one that sent it over the edge is they didn't have food all of a sudden. So
clearly there's a bunch of Riris in charge of each section of the world right now, because all this is so fixable. I mean,
it's very avoidable.
Yeah.
You have droughts in some places where you're year to year where it's you can't help it, but a lot of this is very much a man-made problem.
That's what gets me. I'm just like, I hear all these stories and stuff, and I'm just like, this is stupid. But most things are stupid when it's left up to dumb men, and I feel like
woman power
all the way. There's my feminine whatever the heck coming out. But my thing is, you got Joe Biden. He's still in there, unfortunately. He'll be in there for another 2.5 years or 2 years and like 3 months. And I think it just leaves people on edge. They see how dumb he is. They see like everybody's just on edge. Like they don't know what's going to happen in the future. But I was talking on the last podcast, if you take yourself out of the news, all the stuff, like I said, man, since 2020, since all this fear mongering started, I haven't really seen a change in my life. Whenever it comes to food, whenever it comes to beer, Zen, all the things I like they always have it on the shelves. Yeah, it's more expensive and rent has definitely gone up. I've definitely felt inflation. But what gets me about all this is like, there's just a lot of people scared, man, like terrified. And even my homies at work, my homies in general, I have group threads and it's always like doom and gloom, kind of like that robotic thing I just sent you. But I'm done paying attention to the doom and gloom stuff. I feel like we'll be all right. I really do.
Yeah, because you still live in the United States, which is the best place to be always.
Always, baby. Always is, always will. And it'll be the last place that freedoms are try to get squished in the hands of communism. So we'll have a fighting chance at the end of it too. But hopefully it doesn't come down to that. Hopefully we get some leadership in there in November that, can figure out, hey, how do we combat all this stuff that's going on in Russia and what's going on in China right now? Are they like this person also told me.
Oh yeah, lay it on me, dude.
So this person also told me, and when it comes to China, they're abandoning like their manufacturing warehouses and they're turning it into like military making machines and gearing up for World War III. But I personally think Can I say what I personally think real
I
fast?
mean, it's your podcast. You can say whatever
But
you want.
hold on to your thoughts. So I personally think that China hasn't gone to war in a very long time. Am I right? Like
Um,
we haven't seen war out of China. Like they're fighting, their combat, like what they do, right?
I
Like with
mean,
America, you've seen
yeah,
us.
right. The last time I think they did an actual war would probably been 1979.
What was that
They
war?
fought. They invaded Vietnam, and they got killed. They got destroyed too.
They
They got
did.
yeah.
Oh, fucking Vietnam, you savages.
Yeah, it's really
Uh,
hard to fuck with Vietnam. Like people just don't win when they go to Vietnam.
so if I hear a war's coming out here, do I just need to start digging holes in the side of the hill and
I mean,
freaking?
our terrain is not quite as advantageous to that kind of warfare since our whole country's a jungle. But I
Yeah.
guess you could try. But
I mean, what else can we do? Well,
right,
I'm digging holes, baby.
all right.
I'm reading the book Holes, and I'm getting to town. Uh, um, so China, uh, are they gearing up for World War III, or are they just gearing up to take Taiwan? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, no one's gearing up for World War III. No one's like, okay, I'm going to start World War III. They have this thing called, God, what's the word for it?
Micro penises? Oh, sorry.
No, sequential something. It's like a salami slicing strategy. Um, uh, I don't know, sequential. I can never think what the actual word. It's just like focused in sequential strategy, I guess is what you call it. It's basically called salami slicing. So that means they want to take one little piece, and then after they take that one little piece, it'll help them take the next little piece. And then after they take enough little pieces, pretty soon they have a whole sausage, right? So
Makes
that's the
sense.
idea. So
Not a lot
yeah,
of
they're
noise is made.
no, that's the idea, to do things in small enough increments where nobody gets mad enough at you to do anything about it. So it's like, we'll just take this little piece here. You don't want to go to war over this, so we'll just take this little piece. Well, now we have this little piece. It helps us take one more little piece. That's kind of their goal.
Is
That's
that
the
Russia's goal too? Is that
yeah. I
kind
mean, that's what they did with Crimea, and then they'll do it with Ukraine, and they probably try to do it with Hungary. And I didn't believe that at the beginning, but it kind of seems like that's what they want to do now.
of
I
really?
was, I was of the persuasion that Russia was motivated basically out of their concern for their own for their own national sovereignty. But now that I think about it, while that's still um, I guess a notable, I don't know how I want to phrase this. That idea still makes some sense, right? They wouldn't want, any time that you have adversaries around your borders, that's probably not good for your national security. But I also think that Vladimir Putin probably wanted to reconstruct the Soviet Union for as long as he's been in power. So I think that it's a little bit of both. But yeah, anyway, go
Real
ahead.
quick though, is Austria, Slovakia, and Romania, was that all part of what is it called?
Austria, the Soviet Union.
Yeah,
Austria was not. Slovakia
and Romania were.
was, and I believe Romania was in the Warsaw Pact, I believe,
Was
which is
Poland?
like, yes, Poland was in the Warsaw Pact too.
Okay.
Yeah, and Romania was also in the Warsaw Pact. They weren't part of the Soviet Union, but they were countries out like that were communists that were allied to the USSR, essentially.
Did it extend all the way to Croatia, like the
Croatia would.
the Balnya
I don't know
Sea?
the Baltics. I don't know exactly what the Baltic countries'
So
involvement was.
okay, so it's Russia, Ukraine, and Hungary. That's, I guess I could type it in like what was the countries that were in the Soviet Union.
Yeah,
So
so the Soviet Union was part of, like, it was actually Moscow was governing these countries, right? And then there were other countries called the Warsaw Pact, which had, like, they had alliance with the Soviet Union, and that would have been Poland, Romania, Hungary, East Germany, Czechoslovakia. So yeah, Slovakia would have been one of them.
okay. Here's a better: Russia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia. The USS. This was in the USSR. Sorry.
Yeah, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, all those.
Georgia. Yeah. Armenia, Azer.
Azerbaijan.
Dude, I'm such a clown. I gotta learn like more countries. Like I hear these, and if I saw it getting taken over, I wouldn't know. You know what I mean? I'd be like, what?
Yeah, Kazakhstan's fucking huge too.
Kazakhstan's monstrous.
It's a massive country.
Dude, it's number 11 on here. Look at this thing. Shoot,
Yeah.
sorry. It's
Oh, yeah,
massive.
it's huge.
Yeah.
There's a ton of Kazakhs that live in Korea, so I got to know quite a bit about it, and Uzbekistan too.
Putin's a nut.
Dude, we'd always
man.
go. So, quick tangent. We would go to, and when I lived in Seoul, we go to Russia Town all the time, but Russia Town was actually Uzbek Town. So there were
Okay.
Uzbekistanis that just said they were Russian because it's easier to market Russian food than Uzbek food.
Yeah.
Dude, we would just get unnecessarily drunk there. So it was like, for a while, like COVID was shutting everything down. So we go there at like, and everything in Seoul would close around 10. So our routine for like a year was once a month we go to Russia Town, go to this restaurant. It's like back in an alley where there's like 5 Uzbek restaurants, and you sit in and they have like Russian music videos playing on the TV and old, Uzbek people. Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And that's German, but anyway.
I didn't know I could speak German. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. But then we'd order like the dumplings and like meat kebabs, and we'd always get beer, but we never really knew what beer we were having. And then we get vodka,
Oh yeah.
and the vodka was phenomenal.
Like water?
So good. I mean, no, you were feeling it. Like it was. We just called it the mountain vodka because it had mountains on the inside of the bottle.
Okay.
And then when we crush the food, crush a couple beers, and then crush that bottle of vodka, and then we go across the street to this like dessert cafe. And it was up above, there's like 2 levels, and we go to the top level, and we'd order like cakes there and drink more vodka. And it was so awesome, but we were always just blitzed. And we have one of my friends, his name's Andrew. Actually, man, I want you to talk to him sometime. He is hilarious.
Get him on the pod?
Yes, dude.
All
He
right.
would be a great conversation.
Okay.
And he could tell you all about Korea. He's been through the ringer over there.
Okay.
But he's really knowledgeable.
Where's he live now?
He lives in Seoul still.
Okay.
He's really knowledgeable on foreign events and stuff like that too. But he would get really mad when we go out because he gets drunk and gets mad.
Oh, he's one of those? Oh, shit.
Yeah, for some, like we were talking pretty loud, and this guy that's by himself comes over and tells us he takes out his headphones. He's this Russian guy with headphones, and he tells us to be quiet. And then, of course, we're all like, okay, fine, whatever. And our buddy Andrew does not like that at all. And he started like, what's this motherfucker doing? Like getting loud and stuff. Like, Andrew, shut up, whatever.
You don't tell us what to do.
And then he gets kind of mad, that guy, and he goes to leave, and he's like looking back at us, kind of like yelling at us or whatever. And he's storming out of this dessert cafe. And there's like this clear glass door, and he just right into the glass door, like bounces back, and like even the Russian people that are there are all like laughing at him and shit. And then another time, some people came over and told us to be quiet too because we probably got a little too loud when we were drinking and stuff. And one of the guy comes over and he's like, "Hey, we have our baby here. Could you, keep it down a little bit?" And Andrew just
Which
goes,
makes sense.
Yeah, but Andrew goes, "Man, fuck that baby."
Oh my gosh.
But like, really, why do you have a baby there at 10 o'clock?
Yeah, I agree. But if somebody said "fuck that baby" to me, I'd put that glass through his eyeball, dude. But dang, what a nut.
Dude, this guy's a G. Like, he doesn't give a fuck when he gets drunk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck that baby.
But,
damn.
So anyway, Russia Town.
That's fighting words right there, dude.
Yeah.
Especially Russia Town. Your boy's crazy.
Yeah. Russia Town is a great place, man.
Russia Town. That where did we go in Seoul where it was like there was like all these neon lights on the side of the buildings, and it was
probably when we were at Gangnam. Is that when you
it was
tried to
Gangnam.
punch the thing and you missed and you hit
and I cut my
window?
hand.
Yeah.
Didn't I cut my hand? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's where it was. There was like a restaurant called 1988, which is like my birthday.
Yeah.
And then there was dude, you're making me want to order spicy pork belly right now on DoorDash. Like, I haven't had Korean barbecue since you came out, and I'm starving for it. But and thinking back on that, yeah, dude, that's the cool part of Seoul. And I actually was looking up videos of Taiwan. Just it sounds cheesy, but I finished. I watched House of Dragons again last night, just because
Yeah.
I wanted to soak in as much as I could of it, because there's a lot going on. So at the end of it, I kind of didn't know what to watch, and there's another Drewcast out there called Drewcast Taiwan, and it's this Taiwan guy. He's got like I don't know, like 22,000 followers. I'm like, I gotta see
Really?
what. Yeah, I was like, I gotta see what this guy's all about. And so it's Drewcast Taiwan. I think it's space Drew space cast space Taiwan, and there's one of his videos where he just films driving through a city in Taiwan, and it's like 22 minutes long, and it's got like this nice noise in the background or song. So I press play, and I'm just sitting there watching it, and it reminds me of Seoul. It reminds me of like Korea. They have the 7-Elevens everywhere. Everything's really condensed, alleyways all over the place, and then very clean, very clean.
Yeah, super clean.
And no trash, no homeless people. And I'm seeing and I'm watching like these motorcycles drive past him and come back into a, they're swerving around everybody, but nobody's crashing. There's girls on the back of the motorcycles, and everybody seems really like it's almost like an organism that just moves.
Yeah.
And it just, that reminds me of Asia. There's nothing like that. Nothing like New York's not like that. LA's not like that. Like,
dude, LA and New York are gross compared to the big Asian
they're
cities.
so gross.
Like
And
the East Asian cities, yeah.
that's something nobody will understand until they go to Seoul or they go to any Asian city, even Thailand. Thailand's a little gross.
Yeah, Bangkok's a little gross, but people go there for the gross.
Yeah, Bangkok's super gross. I remember when we went, we didn't talk about Bangkok but once, huh? Anyways, when we went
Bangkok's
to Bangkok,
so fun, man.
when we went to Bangkok, I remember we were in a tuk-tuk, which is like a badass goat cart, you could say.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like on the back, like you actually, it's more like a little truck, and like they have like seats on the back, and then you can plug in your Vox cord. Back then it was a Vox, and play whatever song you want and as loud as you want, and it was like had lights and shit. And then I remember we were in Bangkok and we took a tuk-tuk. I think we just got done getting our suits that we got swindled into getting, but I mean, we got a decent.
Dude, those suits are fire. Like,
I was gonna say
so
that we got a real good
deal.
deal. Yeah, we got a real good deal. So we got these suits. Every
wedding I go to, I'm the best dressed person there now because those dudes.
What's cool is you can open up your blazer and it has whatever you wanted written on it, which was dope.
It's a good custom tailored suit. Like,
it is.
I'm gonna try to call. I have my measurements still. Like, I'll still call them up and I'll see if they can make me another one because they're awesome.
Like they were from like
I like Bangladesh.
India.
Like that.
No.
India. I think they were from Bangladesh.
Okay. Well, they were cool guys, whoever they were.
Cool.
But so we're going back to the hotel in the tuk-tuk, and there's probably 8 lanes, 10 lanes. Yeah. And it's stopped, and it's traffic, and every dirt bike is flying by, and every tuk-tuk, like, this is what gets me about people talking about we got to save the planet and shit. I'm like, us Americans, you like California. Okay, Gavin Newsom, you ever been to Bangkok, boy?
Yeah,
like,
right.
I couldn't breathe. When we were stuck in that traffic, and I was like getting dizzy. And I'm like, dude, I might as well be in a garage trying to kill myself with my car, because that's how much smoke and all that shit was going on. And I couldn't breathe. I got dizzy. Like, I realized, dang, this is what smog is. And that's a problem. I will agree. Like, just for your personal health, you'll probably get some lung cancer here pretty soon.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about global warming and like everything that this Davos group talks about. And I can't take it seriously, man. When I see it on the news, I can't take it seriously. I'm like, hey, homies, how about you get the world police to hit up China, Bangkok? Like, if you can somehow dim them down, then maybe I'll take a listen to the restrictions you have on me.
Well, that's the thing. There is no world police.
No.
That doesn't exist.
No.
And so none of these countries that are developing still and that are behind us economically and are competing with us, like India and especially China, who has to compete with us because they want to displace us, they're not going to listen to our EP.
Fire up the mills, baby.
They don't give a crap. That's the thing I will say about Elon Musk, who he does a lot of great things, but he's definitely got a little bit of that Chinese money flowing in because he's always like, oh, if you look at China, what they're doing so much for green energy and you
Yeah,
know
right.
all the new green technologies and
He's
blah
getting all
blah
their
blah.
batteries.
Yes, it's because he wants to sell Teslas there. But if
Yeah.
you actually look at China, they're increasing their CO2 emissions like crazy every year, and they're opening tons of new coal-fired plants, which I don't blame them. I mean, why
Fire up.
wouldn't you do that?
Become the world's
And
biggest economy. Go for it.
yes, and he's like, oh, but their environmental score is so good. I'm like, it's not. You just want to keep your Tesla factory open there, so spare me, please.
Yeah.
Like, so that's
Yeah.
the part about him that I can't quite take him as seriously as I'd want to, because when he says something that's so obviously false like that,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, well, yeah, I like a lot of the stuff you're saying, but as soon as there's more money to be made in this area, you're willing to lie,
And I
like
and I
flat out lie.
and I can't blame him. I can't blame him. It's capitalism at its finest. It's him.
Sort of, but it's not
But
really.
don't
It's
lie, I
not
guess.
capitalism.
Don't
It's
lie.
not capitalism because
But
to operate in China, it's not a
that's true.
capitalist economy. So it's
Yeah.
not. He has to do all these things that the government
I
says.
stand
So
correct.
it's literally not capitalism at all. So sorry, but when it comes to that, fuck that dude. And I'd like to see him answer for those things because I do think he's doing a lot of really good stuff as far as free speech and challenging big tech. That's great. But
And trying to come up with futuristic ways
sure,
of living better or whatever,
right.
cheaper.
That's all good and fine and admirable. But when he's opening Tesla showrooms in Xinjiang where they're, housing 1 million Muslims in prison camps, it's hard for me to
Tell me
take him
about that.
seriously.
Tell me about these Muslims in prison camps. I've heard this, and let me just say my spiel, and I could be this
Yeah,
could be
say
wrong.
this, and then we actually need to get back to the China thing that
Okay.
I cut you off from.
So so these Muslim, what are they called again? The Muslim
Uyghurs.
Uyghurs. So I've heard that there is actually a pretty gnarly black market, and I don't think it was for the Muslim Uyghurs. I think it was for another like culture in China, and they're almost all died off because what happens is they don't believe in smoking, they don't believe in drinking, and they live a very pure life. And
I mean, yeah,
what
the
I've
smokers.
found or what I've heard is that what they do is say I'm some sweet Russian oligarch or whatever, and I have a bad ticker. I have a bad
Oh
heart.
yeah, yeah.
I hit up China. I say, hey, this is my blood type. This is my age. I need a heart. And then
Mm.
bam, they would go to that group of people who were clean as a whistle, snatch one of them up, take him to a certain hospital, have him meet the oligarch there in China, cut open the oligarch dude, cut open the healthy dude, give dude his heart, other dude just dies. And it's basically um, uh, organ harvesting.
Yeah. I mean, that is definitely a thing. I don't know specifically the group you're talking about, but
Gosh,
there's
I
been
wish I could.
lots of. I think it's probably the Falun Gong, which is
That sounds real familiar.
yeah,
Yes.
it's like a religious kind of culty religious thing. But they obviously would live very clean lives. But they're a little crazy, but whatever. You can be crazy. It's not
Yeah, you shouldn't be organ harvested.
no, they're organ harvesting from them, from the prisoners, from the Uyghurs. That's the organ trading black market is very prevalent in China. It's for sure. It's for sure a thing.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Like
And so
that's
if
evil
they're
beyond.
doing that with yeah, what's up?
No, I was just gonna say that's evil beyond like even comprehension. Like
Yeah, it is. This is the worst regime since Stalin and Hitler. I mean, with a lot more potential power than either of those countries. But the thing that's going on in Xinjiang is it's this big western province. I think it's the biggest like state in China, right? Tons of natural resources. It's where gas would have to come through to go to Central Asia, whatever. Really useful part of China. The only problem is that no one that lived there was actually Chinese, like Han. Like when you think of Chinese people, the traditional, if you go to Shanghai or Beijing, those kind of people, they don't live there. It's a completely different race of people that are technically Chinese, but they're ethnically not. And so they don't really want to be part of China. So there are, I don't know, going back 20, 30 years, however far you want to go back, there's been like terrorism out of that region where they would go into train stations and kill a bunch of Chinese people. So that did happen. But that was a couple of them, right? So basically, what China did, what the government did in Beijing, is they used those isolated terror incidents to basically say that they need to re-educate all these people to become not Muslim, more Chinese, right? Well, what they're actually trying to do is just get rid of that population. They're trying to move, so they're trying to make more of China Han Chinese people. They don't want the Uyghurs there at all. So there's a couple ways that they go about doing this. One is they have surveillance on all of them. So, for example, they're Muslim, right? They can't have the Quran on their phone. Like they can't have a Quran app on their phone. You can't have Bible apps on your phone. But it's everything is under surveillance there. And so what they started doing is building these camps, which were essentially just prisons, like concentration camps. And they would arrest all these people for whatever reason. They would say, "Oh, you are suspected of being a terrorist." So one of them, I think he prayed too much or his beard was too long, just any excuse that they could think of, right? To get these people into these camps. And when they get them in there, there's upwards of 1 million of them in there at any one time. They get them in there, and there's a bunch of police files that came out, and I'll send them to you. So this is proven. This isn't just some sort of conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Satellites can see the prisons. The police stations in the region were hacked, and you see the files on all these people. It's insane. And so they take them in there. They basically make them learn to speak Chinese. They tell them to stop speaking their own language, teach them to love Xi Jinping. They sterilize the women so they can't have babies anymore. They make them eat pork. They make them drink alcohol so they can be more Chinese. Yeah, all this stuff. So then they just kill some of them. Whatever, right? Whatever the guards feel they need to do at that time. So the only reason they're doing this is and then apart from that, they're taking a bunch of people from Eastern China and moving them out there. So basically to dilute this population and make it less Muslim and make it more Chinese. And the concentration camps are like one part of that.
Why isn't the news talking about this?
They do. It's pretty.
Okay.
It's talked about quite a bit. The BBC actually does really, really good reporting on it. If you want to, I don't know why. And it was earlier this year, the United Nations, China let a United Nations human rights person come in to look at them. And it basically came out that she isn't going to give a clean report on them. And they got mad. Oh, man.
Nice. Good for her.
I'm surprised that she didn't say anything, but they're saying that she is, treason.
A liar.
She's a liar. This isn't happening, blah, blah, blah. So you've seen people from the BBC go into these camps before. Like they'll take foreign media in there, but it's obviously just a huge show, right? Like they'll go in and there's always like a person
North Korea.
standing in the yes, it's exactly like that. Now, and then the thing is there's a bunch of these Westerners that live in China that moved over there to teach English, whatever, and they're fucking losers. Not that teaching English in other countries being a loser. It's cool. I did it. A lot of people do it. But they get over there and they learn that they can be kind of famous if they start talking about how cool the government is in China. So these British losers, these American losers, the Chinese government pays for them to go to all these places and say, "Wow, look how pretty it is here. All the foreign media is lying about what's going on in Xinjiang and China. It's so cool." And then they'll talk to like people that are dancing in the streets, and it's always this. But it's always the same people that they talk to. Always. It's like there's millions of people that live there, and somehow they always find the same people to talk to.
Okay.
It's very clear that the government's setting them up on these tours, have them make blogs, and then talk about it to their Canadian audience or their British audience and be like, "Oh," because they're doing it in English. They're clearly not doing it for the Chinese audience. And they're like, "Oh, it's just so amazing out here in China. The foreigners are just lying about them because the government's paying the money. Chinese government's paying money to do it. It's fucked, man."
Wow. Yeah. China's a sneaky little bastard, dude.
They have big goals, man.
Man, huge goals. I was listening to Joe Rogan and this CIA agent dude, and he said that Yahweh had set up Huawei, sorry.
Yahweh is Jesus in Hebrew.
Yahweh, Yahweh. Yeah, Huawei. Um, they set up these. They sold to the back in like 2010 to these companies in Nebraska, probably Kansas, and all over the Midwest. These parts for cellular data,
Yeah, I'm
and
sure.
to these.
For sure.
You know how we had a local cell phone
Yeah.
company back when we were in high school?
Yeah.
Well, they have the same thing in Nebraska and all over places like that. And what they were doing is China said, "We'll sell you." Huawei said, "We'll sell you our part,
Cheap.
basically nothing."
Yeah.
And this part is expensive. And so they were like these cell phone companies and CEOs or whatever. Like if I owned a cell phone company in 2010 and they said that, I'd be like, dude, it's like $1,000 over here, and over
Yeah.
here we're getting it for $15.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's set it up.
Right.
$15, order away. So what they're finding out in 2020 is that China is basically able to hack and they're all by military bases, like Fort Worth or what's the one, Fort Riley?
Yeah. Oh,
There's
sure. Yeah.
so check this out. So back in 2020, we discover this and we say, hey, this is an issue. We need to get these taken down. And to this day, we still don't have a plan to take them down because it'll cost like $10 billion to take them out and replace them. They are a sneaky, sneaky country. And if you tell me,
Dude,
keep going.
you have
What's up?
you have no idea how much tech China uses. So, God, China. So, first of all, what kind of washing machine do you have?
You want me to go check? I don't
No,
know.
like, I'm just curious. What do you think it is?
I don't have a clue, dude.
I mean, I don't either. Like, what's
I don't
mine?
even
It's
know
Samsung,
washing
probably.
machine names.
You know General
Swirly?
Electric, right? GE.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know GE appliance, anything that you have in your house, like your refrigerator, maybe your oven, maybe your dishwasher. Yeah, that's a Chinese company. They bought it, and they just didn't change the name. It's still GE, but China. It's all produced in China, or it's owned by a Chinese company.
So what does that mean? Like
That
my
means that
refrigerator's listening on shit?
if you have a smart refrigerator, yes, it does. That's exactly what
Okay.
it means. It's 100%
And
what it means.
it could probably has a camera that sees everything in your house or
Sure.
whatever.
Any
You
smart thing you have. There's also a TV called TCL, and there's these two engine. Like TCL is a big brand. I think it's like the third biggest brand in the world.
okay?
So, and they make these cheap smart TVs, right? Like you said, they're cheaper, more affordable,
Oh
pretty
my
good
gosh.
quality.
Yeah.
So there's these couple. They were just like random engineers. They weren't even working. They just happened to notice something about their TV was wrong. So they went backwards and checked in it, their TCL TV, and they found that there was like a back door put into it, which means that someone could operate how their TV worked remotely from wherever the TV was designed. And it was in Beijing or China, wherever they're Shenzhen, I don't know. But basically, they found out that someone could control the TV, turn the camera on, turn the audio on, turn the mic on whenever they wanted to from a computer in China.
And watch a married couple bang like rabbits on the couch or whatever.
Sure. And it probably doesn't, they probably don't care.
They don't care. No, they don't.
But as soon as you put that in a government institute, or as soon as you put that in a university, or as soon as you put that somewhere where there's, important information,
Political person
or
talking with his
political
wife
people, yes,
or something.
right. So yes,
You
it's not
you told me this baloney thing. This is like
salami slicing.
salami slicing. This is like tons of salami slices throughout the last 40 years or the development of technology, basically since 2007.
Sure, this has been the plan. It's the plan. And they all since 1990, this has been their plan. And they also have, what is the other thing that they have? Oh, they have a huge portion of our electric grid is controlled by Chinese state.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So think about if they don't have to go to war with us
No.
necessarily to fuck our economy.
Just cut us off.
Sure. Yeah.
People
now,
are like Trump. I know was ranting and raving, but
yes.
people we got like, if I try to talk to anybody about this outside of you or this podcast or anybody listening, if I try to talk about this at all with just the average Joe, they're just like, so what? My phone's spying on me. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's very dormant, the fear or the concern. Even when I tell my wife about TikTok, I'm like, babe, it'll know your bank account, it'll know this. They can literally go in and shut it off or do whatever, take your money out, send it to them. And she's like, oh well. And like I try to tell my stepdaughter the same thing, like, hey, just so you know, like I tried to explain it to her and break it down to her what's going on. And she's like, no, they're not. I'm like, yeah, they are. Like
They are.
Nobody
They
cares. Nobody cares.
No, it's because we're not a serious country and we haven't had a real problem in forever. So we think a real problem cannot happen. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to get into a hot war with China in the next year, but the world, the history of the world has been conflicts between kingdoms, and then after it became states, between states and countries, right? That's just what happens. So we are in this like national mood where nothing can happen to us, which is wild because 9/11 happened like 20 years ago during most of our lives. So to think that now a real superpower country that wants to be, that has nuclear technology, that controls our electric grid, that produces most of our medicine, that produces most of our clothes, couldn't do something if they want. Yeah, it's insane. And that people just don't care is, I understand why, but it's also very unintelligent.
Very naive.
It's very naive.
It's very naive. Yeah, like I get on my Instagram and people my age are just focusing on Barstool Sports messages, and like I find if what I'm doing is like crazy or sane for myself, because I'm literally now starting to research once I did this podcast. Actually, once I became a dad, and I'm starting to research, and I can't help but be like, not scared. I'm not scared. Fuck being scared. But I'm just aware, and I'm like, hey, this shit is serious, man. Like for instance, TikTok, whatever administration gets in there, just ban it, man. Get it out of there.
I agree.
And then give the kids something on Instagram. Be like, hey, Instagram, we're gonna give you $1 billion to make your own little TikTok. Whatever. I'll take that over having TikTok. So it's just these little things need to be addressed. They're not little, they're big, but they're big.
Yeah. And it's not fear mongering. Being aware and making changes in your life that are very easy does not mean you're fear mongering. Saying if someone's like, China's going to nuke us tomorrow, stock up on Campbell's soup, that's fear mongering. But saying, hey, listen, your phone is definitely spying on you and a foreign government's in charge of it. So maybe don't have that app. That's common sense.
That's more like the Alex Jones way is what you're talking about. Like every time I listen to Alex Jones, dude, first it was the vaccines, and I'm like, okay, I won't get it. And then once that got dismissed by the Supreme Court, all of a sudden it was like, Russia's gonna nuke your ass, so you better buy my Patriot pack. And I was just like, okay, this guy is worth $250 million. He just got sued for $50 million, which whatever, but rightfully so for what he said. But so I was thinking in my head, Alex Jones is done, and then I looked up his net worth, and it's like $250 million. And I was like, oh, this is a fear mongering station. They just want to promote whatever, dude. Anyway, so I just don't listen to him anymore. But Jeremy said he wanted to get on the line, so I'll try to add him real quick, but we can keep chatting about whatever.
I have him ready to go.
Yeah, go for it then. Add him. See if he'll pop up.
Do that again. Add people, Jeremy Logan. Okay, I'm calling him now, I think.
It might be just a call and not a video call.
No. Okay, it says I'm calling him right now.
Okay. But what we're having Jeremy on for is basically he wanted to talk about this $10,000, $20,000 thing that Joe Biden just.
Oh yeah, I can talk about that too.
Yeah, he just pushed that, and so Jeremy actually wanted to. Okay.
I'm calling him. It says calling Jeremy J. Logan. Let me refill my.
That's fine. I'm gonna try to do the same thing. It doesn't say he's online, huh?
No. Does he know we're on Skype and not Zoom?
Let me see if I can send him this. For as smart as my brother is, I can't believe this isn't easier to get him on. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'll just tell him to message me on Skype because it's not saying he's online.
Yeah, mine didn't say he's online either. But no, just the one thing I wanted to add about all these people that just don't care, that, you know, they're like, we'll care about like transgenderism and gay rights and whatever. I don't really have, like, if you want to do what you want to do and you're an adult, I don't care. Those aren't really important issues. Or they're like, you know, I'm just concerned about how many followers I have, blah, blah. You know, that's going to come to an end really, really, really fucking quick. So, like, I'm reading this book now about Robert Oppenheimer. I'm reading his biography. And so, you know who he is?
No, but it sounds real familiar.
So he's basically the guy that was in charge of the Manhattan Project that was responsible for the atomic bomb, right?
Yes.
One of the most brilliant physicists of all time.
The guy who said, I'm afraid I created, like, death for...
Yeah, I've become death, destroyer of worlds, or whatever.
Yes.
Like the coolest quote of all time.
Yeah.
I think it's from some Hindu thing. But anyway, him and all his buddies were basically communists in the 30s and early 40s. They were like just, you know, all about communism and, you know, we got to do what's right for the downtrodden and the class warfare and all this shit. Yeah, as soon as war broke out in Europe, they're all like, oh, yeah, no, this isn't actually that important, and we should probably focus on not getting annihilated.
Seriously?
Yeah, because communism was a pretty big thing in the United States at that point. And I didn't even realize how close it was to being like a major force in the United States. And then the war happened. And whenever stuff like that happens, you realize a bunch of the things you think that are important, like redistribution of wealth to, you know, to height challenge transgender elves, you know, it's really not. And again, I don't have any problem with what you want to do as an adult, but those aren't important things and they should not factor into United States policy-making decisions. So there's going to become a time when a bunch of people that think the things that are important are not. And they're going to have no choice but to reconcile with that or be left behind. Like Jeremy's left behind right now. How can you not figure out Scott?
Jeremy is left behind here. I'm going to try to... We got Jeremy Logan in the building.
Lane, is that a starter jacket? That looks like the old starter jackets from back in the day.
I took this from my grandpa's closet. It's a Newton High School windbreaker.
Oh, wow. That's classic, dude.
That is classic. We play MAYB there. That's like all I know
Dude,
about.
Dude, that's right. I just remember getting up at like 5 a.m. to play there.
I hated getting up in the hotels, but those tournaments were always fun.
Dude, the effort we went through to play basketball when like none of us were going to make the NBA, obviously, is insane.
It is.
Yeah. But hey, what else were we supposed to do at Haviland?
That's a good point.
Play Halo. We did a lot of that too.
You were the first one to modify anything that I knew of, and I was like a guinea pig. I got to play all your. Yeah. You modified an Xbox with some German parts, and it had like 360.
China parts, not German parts, but yeah.
I just remember.
Yeah, I had to send a freaking money order, so I had to go to like the 7-Eleven in Pratt, get $150 for this microchip, send it to China, and then wait a month for them to get it, and then a month for them to send me the chip. It was crazy, but well, what was that? What was that movie store in Pratt called?
Family Video?
No. There's another one. I can't remember what it was called.
It was the same place, but it was something different before that.
Yeah.
It turned into Family Video, but it was yeah, I know exactly. It was over like on the east side of town, right?
Yeah. Yes. What is now O'Reilly's, I believe. Our old man goes there all the time. Well, when they first opened, you could rent a video game for $1. So we went and rented every single Xbox game they had, and then put it on that hard drive. Put it on that hard drive, and then I would clone the hard drive and put that in all the friends' Xboxes. Those were good times, actually. But no, what started too was Mom worked at the school, so we went to the computer lab, took the router from the computer lab and the Ethernet cables, and then that's how we would do the system linking and play Halo. Those were fun though. And then Lonnie C's got it after that, so they just had the setup.
Oh, I
I
forgot
forgot about Lonnie C's, man.
I did
That's
too.
a cool place.
Dude, after the games, it was the best place to go to. That was fun.
Get burgers and fries and play
Yeah.
Halo.
Yep.
I hated the TVs being above my head though, like this. But
Oh,
like,
and they're like the projection screens ones too, so they were terrible, like quality.
it was
This is
still
Chief, by
fun.
the way.
Chief is a Bengal cat.
To your fans, Andrew.
To my 50 followers.
I was gone all day, so he just needs attention right now.
Yeah, that's all right. He can be on. Bubba's right here. He's just laying to the left of me, but he's asleep. So me and Lane, we were talking about China and how basically people are idiots right now. Like, even though that there's Chinese software that's like in TikTok, and we've been forewarned that they can hack into your bank accounts and have all your money. Doesn't matter who you are, they could. Anyways.
Yeah, don't get TikTok. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems obvious, but yet it's the most popular app on the App Store still.
Yeah.
They
Well,
did a good job.
a young generation doesn't care, you know. They don't care about that kind of stuff.
Lane was saying they're gonna care.
Well, it'll be too late when they want to care. But yeah. Yeah.
So,
Lane, yeah, what do you think about this damn student loan forgiveness program? I'm about to bust a cap.
God,
I've been in a
dude.
bad mood all day.
I'm really glad that I worked hard to get a scholarship and all that, and I went to JUCO, and then I chose a cheap in-state school. I'm glad I made all these decisions.
You're a fool.
I played myself, dude.
Yeah. Same here.
Hey,
Start a
Andrew,
bookstore.
your dad
pay
helped
my
you, or
loans.
Neil helped you go to school, right?
no, I took on all my student loans, but because I graduated valedictorian, Neil gave me 10 grand. I owed.
Neil's an idiot because you could have just got that 10 grand from the
Well,
government.
it was like $23,000 or $24,000 to go to Tulsa Welding School. There were some other kids when I was signing up that were only having to pay $4,000 because of their parents' income. But I was like, I'm the one paying for this. It's not my parents. And then they were like, well, because you come from a middle class, well-to-do kind of family, you owe $24,000. So I was like, that's when I knew it was fucked. And that was under Obama. And then
Did you pay your loans back?
I paid everything. Yeah, I paid.
Idiot.
I know. I know. I paid all 14,000 because like Neil hooked it up because I was valedictorian. But yeah, no, I don't know
That was
much.
dope of Neil, actually. That's pretty cool.
No, it was super cool. I mean, it's a trade he's into. He was a pipeline welder, so he just was like, all right, you're valedictorian. Like, I'll give you a gift for doing that, which was dope. He actually had knee surgery.
He did?
Yeah,
knee replacement or what?
Yeah, he had knee replacement surgery on, I think, yesterday morning, and they had to keep him up because his blood pressure was, I forget what it was, but it was beating like 25 times per minute, and then his oxygen was lower than 90. It was at like 88. So I think it was the anesthesia. I think the anesthesia just slowed him down, but
yeah, anesthesia will mess you up for sure.
I think he's doing good. I need to call them tomorrow. But yeah. So what is your guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, what's your
bullshit
take, Jeremy?
I'm freaking heated, man. I'm livid, but whatever. Obviously, my opinion means nothing, but yeah, if we keep, it just, I still don't understand it where America's at right now. The whole world in general, just with all this free money being printed, especially after 2 years of telling us we can't have a job open.
Right.
And then inflation's obviously kicked in because they gave out way too much money and there's not enough products out there and too much money floating around. And then first of all, what was the new freaking thing they just passed? To help inflation. Like they print money to help
the Inflation Reduction Act?
Yeah. Dude, are you effing kidding me?
And then they're like,
actually
it's not going to lower inflation.
No, not at all. So, okay, yeah, it's just crazy. And then, well, it's just to people who made the conscious decision of like, I can't afford to go to college. I'm gonna like get it like a trade school person like you, Andrew, is a prime example. A plumber, a welder, like
someone that went to
infrastructure.
the military to get the GI Bill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Think about those people.
Yeah, totally. And it's just people. The school system's kind of messed up the way it is.
Yeah.
But if you sign that paperwork, I'm sorry, you sign that freaking paperwork. You got to pay this shit back. That's how it works. And so we're just incentivizing people in the totally wrong way, and it's gonna come back and haunt us. Not in the near term, but it's definitely gonna haunt us.
Well, you're right. The university system is screwed up, but all this does is incentivize the university system to raise tuition again. Why wouldn't they?
1,000%. Like
It's
if you
all
look at
subsidized by the
Harvard and
government.
Yale's endowment funds, like literally, I'm pretty sure like Harvard pays just the brokers who freaking manage the funds like $500 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
They've got tens of billions of dollars in this endowment fund. And then, yeah, it's just the most absurd thing ever, but whatever. And the other part, too, is like these degrees that universities are handing out. Like, it's bullshit. Like, gender studies and freaking. Honestly, I went to Southwest Baptist University, a D2 school in Missouri. These guys were getting dumb degrees on that side of the equation, like youth pastor degree. Like, I don't know what the exact term is.
No, it's
like, it's 20, 30 grand a year to go to school, and you're getting a youth pastor degree. Like, okay, like,
you ain't gonna make $20,000 or $30,000 in a decade being a youth pastor.
You might make 25 grand. Like, you're being a public servant, which I'm not against it. Like, I think those people are awesome.
But you don't need a college degree to do it.
100%. And then what these people, like these kids, would do too is they would get a loan on top of the student loan so they could get cash. So then they'd go like rent a nice apartment, buy a nice car, or eat out, go to clubs, whatever it was. And then I wasn't on a scholarship, and so I was like illegally living with two of my teammates to have free rent. I had the closet in the doorway for all my clothes. And then we like stole a bunk bed from one of the other rooms and put it in there, and I was living with Nick and John. And then I started the bookstore my junior year, me and G-Love, and it helps, and that ultimately ended up paying for my school. So I got lucky.
Garrett Love helped you with that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I was buying my teammates' textbooks and sell them online, and Garrett's like, dude, you can actually sell back to students and make way more money. And that's when the light bulb went off.
It was so funny. It was so funny to help you with that because, like, I went to Missouri to help you, and then you were getting a whole bunch of shit from the library because you were giving everybody a good deal. And the library
was guaranteed more than the bookstore when we were, like, buying that.
And I remember,
and then we like set up right across the street from the bookstore.
I remember I helped you, like you gave me this big old wad of cash and you're like, yeah, just, this is the book, see what it's worth, and then buy it back. And I would always lowball him because you're my brother, and I was like, I'd see it was worth $80 and be like, 40. Like, but they would still, it was still
too much. You should have said 30.
It was still better than the bookstore, but you got on me and you were like, hey, pay these people the right money, and so I did. But then I tried to
There's one book we had so many of. It was a critical thing class I remember to this day. I can like see the book in my head, and we had so many. I was like, just give people $1, and then we ended up selling that freaking book online for $20, and then we were like reselling to students for $35. That was like my biggest money maker for sure.
How much did you end up making, like, with that bookstore? You basically paid your tuition off with it, right?
Yeah. I had $40K in loans, and I was able to pay that off the day I left, graduated. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's got a lot of fire under your ass here.
Oh yeah. Well, Mom was making what? Teacher salary, so I was
$25,000.
I was working 4 months, 5 months out of the year. It was a lot of work. Don't get it twisted, but I was making more than she was when I was a senior in college, and playing basketball,
and going to school,
and trying to have a which didn't work out too well, but
Can't have all three.
priorities. Yeah, you can't have it all.
So what do you see happening then? Like, do you guys just see more inflation in 2023, like out the ass?
Yes.
Oh,
Why
there's
wouldn't
going to
you?
be a recession. The Feds have to keep hiking the rates. Like, if they stop doing that, we're going to be
But
up.
they're hiking it like little babies. Like,
Oh, it's babies. Yeah, you're
it's
right.
not doing it. They need to jack it up like
It's
5
point.
points.
Yeah, it's 0.25 points typically, but they need to. Well, since when? 2010, it's money's been free. So basically,
It's been basically zero.
Governments gave
forever.
the money
Yes.
to the banks, and the banks can go hand it out, and the banks, put like 4% on it, 5%.
Right.
But like the government's not getting anything. So the money's just free. So hence why if you look at the stock market since 2010, it's freaking the skyrocket. It's crazy.
People had a bunch of cash to put wherever they wanted to put it.
Totally. And the businesses could grow quicker, scale faster, all that kind of stuff. But now, like, money's going to be harder. Like Farouz, my roommate, they do real estate investments, but it's for storage units. So like deals they were working on, it's all based off debt. How cheap can you get money for debt? And then over long term, how much can you make? And that margin, when they do these rate hikes, cuts into that significantly. So you're going to have way less buying there. So they're going to have to downsize. They're probably going to have to cut employees. I'm in IT, so we have small to medium-sized businesses that are our clients. So instead of them having an IT staff, they outsource to us. And, dude, all my clients are going to be scaling down over the next 6 months. All of them. And that is a forecast of what's to come. Could I be wrong? Yeah, but I don't.
No, you're not wrong, because any time that ever in the history of the Federal Reserve, when they need to temper inflation by hiking up interest rates, it always ends in higher unemployment substantially, because it has to.
Totally.
There's no
Well,
way that you can cut 9% inflation back to 2% without substantially raising the unemployment rate. It's just not going to happen.
No, and I'm liquidating some of my other investments just to have cash on the side, just in case my business or some of my sister companies need money over the next whatever it is, 6 to freaking 36 months. Not quite sure what it's going to be, but yeah, for once, actually having cash on hand it's good. Because typically holding cash is terrible, because that money's just devaluing with inflation and everything else. But like with everything's going on right now, so what the administration is trying to do is they're trying to buy votes, because a majority of like people our age are actually saying Biden's unfit for the next presidency, so he's trying to buy him. It's just totally messed up.
And they're like, this is going to help poor Americans. No, it isn't. The people that
they're the ones that are going to get fucked more than anybody else.
I saw the stat today. Like, I think 60% of all debt is held by people that make over $76,000 a year, which is middle class to upper middle class.
Yes.
Yeah.
For an individual, I mean, it might not sound like a lot, but it really is. That's pretty good living in most of the country. It's not poor. You're not poor.
No.
$6,000 a year.
Well, you have a roof over your head, clothes, and food at that rate. Well,
and that's just individual. If you have household that's 150,000, you're good.
Yeah.
Especially if you're living in fucking Nebraska or something. And then something like the average salary for people that are actually paying back on loans now is $86,000 a year. That's not a poor person.
No.
Dude, you should be making your payments. No doubt about it.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
No doubt about it.
And then on top of that, something like 70%, no, I don't want to get this wrong. 57% of all student debt is held by households with graduate degrees. So those are people like lawyers and doctors and professors that are making money already, or they're going to be able to make money. They have
Not our cousin Krista.
So all he's trying to do, like Jeremy said, is buy votes from the upper middle class white people that he pretends to hate so much. This isn't going to help Hispanic people or black people.
Oh yeah. Wait, don't forget those people are privileged, and then we're going to give them $10,000 to $20,000.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, but you plumber who went and bought a new truck for your business, you still need to make those car payments, by the way, and the locksmith down the road. You know, fuck you guys. And guess what? Your taxes are going to go towards paying these people that made this decision that you didn't make.
$2,000. Every single person is going to, on average, $2,000.
From the average American on your taxes, $2,000 is to pay this freaking thing off. It's absurd. Even if you didn't go to college at all. Yeah. Well, dude, honestly, people. What percentage of men to women are in college? Is it like 65-35 or 60-40
I think
now?
I want to
it's
say
definitely
like 60-40.
women.
It's way more women. Yeah.
It's definitely more women now.
Well, men can join trade schools and make $120,000 a year after 8 months.
Well, what's sad too is that for some reason our society does not look on that with the same light that they look on going to college. It's very bizarre. It's because actually those people are doing more for society than most college degrees are doing. Which, it makes us. Dude, I got a sports management degree, which is like a mix of like business and what am I gonna do with that shit? Nothing. And I think like 80% of people don't use their degree for their career. My undergrad was in journalism, which is also fucking stupid because I could do everything I'm doing right now with nothing that I learned. Totally.
Doesn't college just show that you are capable of
it's credential
being there for 4 years and going through with something? That's all they see when they're hiring you?
Well, dude, when I hire people, I don't care what their degree is. It's it helps on the resume, but like my best employee ever did not have a degree at all, and he was easily
the best. Asian cat at Big Rinse? That was super.
No, it was Liam. It was Liam, the guy from the music industry. What's up, Hannah?
What's up, Hannah?
She's in the parking spot. She had to go to the bathroom.
It's all good. So you can make up whatever excuse. It's all good.
No, just a little fun. Don't worry about it.
No, like you said, like men, not me. I just build like gas lines and HVAC units and stuff like that. Like I just deal with air conditioning and heating. But then I'm right next to guys who we call them turd chasers, the plumbers. Like, can you imagine?
I love the construction industry. Oh my god!
Can you
the best years of my life?
Can you imagine cutting into a main line of an existing building, and if anybody in that building flushes, it's in your lap? Yeah, those are the guys. Like those keep America going, and like.
And congratulations, you get to pay your blogger neighbor $10,000 as a reward.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like Jeremy said, to piggyback off that, like. And you're going to make upwards of $120,000 a year in California, New York, Miami, and any city that you want to live in. You'll have a good living. The union that I'm in extends out to Australia and Canada, but fuck Canada. There's no way I'm moving up there. So yeah.
You're out of that. Keep going though. I can hear you.
I'm curious. What is homeboy up north doing? This Canada guy, is he kind of been quiet?
He's a communist.
Oh, dude, for sure.
He's a communist.
For sure.
He's all about this ESG, your environmental score, and all this bullshit, and he's just ruining the country.
Well, it refers back to why even give a shit if Bangkok's producing a bunch of waste and China's producing a bunch of waste. They're just talking heads, man. Like this whole save the planet shit has got to go. Because if you think about it, and I love doing this, so you think of a timeline of the planet. What do scientists believe it is? 4.4 billion years old is the timeline of the planet. So you're telling me that in the next 30 years,
you gotta go back to early 2000s when who was the Al Gore? Oh, dude, 2010, Miami's gonna be underwater. California's coastline's gonna be gone. Oh, and Bill Gates and all these guys are buying beachfront properties that are spouting this shit and flying their jets around everywhere.
Exactly. There's a new UN report that they're trying to censor that it came out that the global temperature actually hasn't increased at all since 1990.
Well, and just like historically speaking, considering how old the world is, like it fluctuates in temperature.
Yes.
Nature.
And the other thing too is like I have a Tesla now, okay, and it's just a badass car. The natural economy is going to go towards that just because it's a badass fucking car. You don't need this government's incentivizing all this stuff because the economy will naturally take care of that.
Right.
But the government's coming in and just screws up everything all the time. And that's just another prime example.
Like,
and then, well, we
Go
need
ahead,
energy.
sorry.
Well, we need energy too.
Yeah.
And just because nuclear energy has a bad rap, we take all these other avenues. Like
nuclear is
it's the best.
It's the godsend. Yes.
Have you guys ever seen a nuclear reactor turn on? It is fucking cool. I saw a video of it because one of my buddies welded on one. And it's underwater. It's like this tube that's underwater, and all of a sudden it goes, and it's just this blue light. It's freaking nuts. You can just tell that thing is producing way more than anything we can produce from anything out of the ground. It's gnarly.
Well, I know. And also, basically, like everything now, I believe, is achieved like through nuclear fission. And they're trying to figure out how to power through nuclear fusion. And if they can do that, that is unlimited energy for humanity forever, essentially.
This might be a stupid question, but say you put nuclear energy into a car and I get in a wreck, is it going to be like,
no,
boom, there goes the block?
Because I mean, they power submarines with nuclear energy. It's not like they don't.
They've been doing that since who knows how long. Jack Ryan, those old freaking novels that's what they're written off of. But yeah, because you got Chernobyl and then the one in Japan that had the issue, and then now it has a bad rap, and then you got all this other stuff. But against it, but at the end of the day, it's definitely the cleanest.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like making
energy, and it would be so cheap. That's the other thing. So cheap. There's just too much money out there that these other people can make, and you get lobbyists and all this other stuff.
Like you're right. Like Tesla is the way of the mid future, battery powered cars. Yes, that's also not sustainable over the long term because those have to be. No. You have to mine your cobalt.
Yes.
The ground, which is a limited resource. And have you seen those mines?
Yeah, they're deep.
And they use fucking slaves to dig them out.
And kids and stuff. Yes. Yeah, it's terrible. It's awful.
Like,
well, it's the same thing. We have a less than $1,000 iPhone in our pocket, but we're against. Obviously, slavery was a terrible thing, but like in our day and age now, we bitch about back then. But it's like, hey, you guys want this iPhone, and slave labor is making that fucking iPhone, but we don't care because we're getting what we want.
I hate LeBron James for that.
We don't have to
LeBron James.
I hate LeBron James.
Dude, LeBron James go kick rocks. Like that guy freaking
He might be the dumbest person in the world, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's so stupid.
Yeah.
He's literally stupid. Like he's not. Like people will say he's a genius. No, legitly he is dumb.
Like because you're awesome at like
putting a ball through a hoop.
Awesome at basketball, and I'm really glad that we live in a country where he could parlay that talent into millions of dollars. I love that we live in that country, but that doesn't mean you know anything about anything because you're good at basketball. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but he doesn't, and it's very obvious. When he's like, I have to worry about my kid getting shot when he walks out the door. Bro, your kid has a better chance of getting stung to death by a bee when he walks out the door, and that's real.
For real, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
The pandering to the woke is, yeah.
I'm not trying
I feel like society is on a shift towards the other direction. I feel like we're on the cusp where it's going to turn against the freaking dumbass wokes, but we'll see if that happens or not.
So what does this mean in November? Like, what's going to say, like Jeremy said, the shifts happen.
The Senate and Congress.
So that way Joe Biden can't pass this stupid shit, like this $10,000, $20,000.
No, so the thing he passed today was an executive order.
Yeah, so that means the president could basically just go ahead.
He doesn't
whatever
have
he
the
wants.
constitutional authority to do. I'm pretty sure this is going to get blocked by the Supreme Court.
Oh,
Because I don't think he legally has the standing to do this.
Didn't you find it weird? I know, like, how he was like,
Would that have to happen first, Lane, before the checks get written?
So the checks, I don't know how this is going to act. It's not going to be checks that are written. I don't know exactly how they're going to forgive it, just like wipe it off their ledger. I don't know exactly, but so basically someone's going to have standing in the case, which that means that someone is going to be negatively affected by this. And it's going to be hard. Like, it's not going to be like a random taxpayer. It's going to have to be someone, I don't know, somebody in Congress or a state that sues the federal government for this. And then the courts will look at it. But yeah, I don't think there's anything that gives the president executive authority to do this. I think he knows that, and I think he knows it's going to get overturned. But I think he wants to run his campaign against the Supreme Court. So when the Supreme Court overturns this, he can say,
"Well, he's got first weight on his side."
I was trying to get you guys money.
The Republican Supreme Court took it away from him. Just like he did with the eviction moratorium, where he's like, I can't do this constitutionally, but I'm going to go ahead and say that landlords can't kick out people from their houses. And then the Supreme Court's like, you can't fucking do that. And he's like, well, see what the Supreme Court did? They're kicking you out of your houses.
My boss,
the Constitution's doing
my
that.
boss owns 4 houses in Idaho, and he was so pissed, and I rightfully so.
Hell yeah.
He just would come in and be like, "This motherfucker!" Like, he would just be furious, and I get it. I get it. Matthew Choate has like 3 houses. I wonder if anybody messed with him. I got to give him a call and talk to him about that. So what do you guys see happening then in the future? Just that maybe possibly it leveling out with this, if the House and the Senate get Republicans in it? Like, do you see it just like Jeremy, you're saying you feel like there's a shift? You think the shift will turn after November and people will start breathing a little bit? Like, okay, we just got 2 years left. Let's get this let's get through this and wait to get this fucker out of here.
Well, like whatever they just passed, whatever the inflation dumbass act they passed, like that's an example of something that won't happen post-November, because you're going to have more Republicans in the Senate and in the House that will balance that out. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. We just have way too much free money floating out right now that I just don't know. I don't know what will happen. I don't know if many of your fans, Andrew, have read this book. But
I like how you said that. I mean, read what book?
It's by Ayn Rand. Yeah, Andrew, you definitely have not read this. No, Uncle Lance told me to read it, so I actually read it in
Atlas Shrugged.
Yes, Atlas Shrugged. When did I read this? I think it was in 2020. Or was it 2021? But it was right when all this shit was happening with COVID and everything else. But anyways, the book is incredible. And it was written by this Russian lady who left the Soviet Union, came to America. And it was like, I think 1940s is when it was written. But what's crazy is everything that happened in that book is kind of happening right now. So what it tells you is just human nature at the end of the day. So history, this has already happened before. We're just repeating it, but with different technology, different global infrastructure and scale going on now. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, it's just human nature. It's just how we work.
Well, when Rome fell, wasn't everybody becoming gay and like transsexual?
They were always gay and transsexual in Rome. Like, that was just what they were.
But I heard in the times that that's what they.
I'm sure it happened a lot. Yeah.
That was like not a thing though. Like they weren't like exactly super.
I mean, you can't really cut dicks off and live back then.
Yeah. Well, it's just the sensitivity of humans right now is just out of control.
Yeah.
And we need a reset there, because yes, I get you don't want to bully people, obviously, but at the same time, like, there's just too much going on. Like, the fact they're going after kids, like, dude, I was scared to death of girls as a little kid.
Right.
And I didn't know anything. You obviously can't have sex with a kid because the kid can't consent. So how could the kid consent to changing his gender. Like, I
You would
just don't
think that
understand
logic
how
would be
that.
obvious. Yeah.
It's so obvious. Well, Matt Walsh has that "What Is a Woman" documentary from Daily
It's
Wire.
great. I watched that. That's
Fantastic.
great.
It's fantastic. Matt Walsh is such a troll. It's great.
He is.
But he was talking to this lady about how people who like have this dysphoria or whatever, where they want to cut a limb off, like their arm.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't you see the correlation here?" And she's like, "No, that makes no sense at all." I'm like, dude, how? Yeah. And obviously, those people, it would suck to like have that internal battle. But the interesting stat, I think, Lane, correct me if I'm wrong here, is like a lot of this actually happens with girls now, where statistically it was actually men.
Yeah.
But social pressure with chicks, especially young, vulnerable girls, and if their friend does it, then it just, who knows?
Well, it's totally.
Thank God I don't have kids. So it is. That's the annoying part.
Ben Shapiro makes a really good point. He's like, if this was some sort of like change in the way humans actually behave, then you would see this happening in Omaha as much as you were seeing it happen in Hollywood, and you're not. It's happening in specific places around the country where certain cultures glorify this. It's a social contagion. It has nothing to do with all of a sudden there's way more transgender people. No, it's not happening. People are being conditioned to think they are from a young age, and because the pop culture makes it seem cool. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yes.
I have a friend whose daughter, she wanted to be called Casper, and basically she dyed her hair. She dyed her hair green and then black, and then she, her pronouns is he, him now, but it was a phase. It's already gone. It was like 6 months ago, and I just was like, what the fuck? She's 13, but but anyways, and then my stepdaughter, she said she had a friend at school that goes by a dude now. And I was like, what do you think's going on there? And she's like, they just want attention. And I was like, you're smart. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. Because, like, that's all this is. And it's very unfortunate they're going after kids. And the concern that's coming from people.
That's the issue at its core. Like,
that's the issue. Yeah.
That's the issue.
If you're 30 years old and you decide to do these things, that's in your right as an American.
I completely agree with you. I'm on the same page. Anybody should be able to do whatever they want to do. But you also shouldn't be able to compel people to speak against reality, to be like, you have to call me she. I'm like, well, no.
That's where Jordan Peterson drew the line as well. Like, we would all acknowledge somebody how they want to be acknowledged. But
if you cut your dick off, I'm calling you she. If you cut your wiener off, that's
what it takes for me. It's like, whatever. I really don't care.
Yeah, I don't really care either. But
I don't care.
But it's the manipulation of language.
Oh, dude. Like Jordan Peterson, his whole shtick was when the Canadian government said, you have to do this, otherwise there are consequences. And that's where he stood up. He was like, no, I will never, dead name somebody or anything like that face to face. I'll never do that. But you as a government can't come in and say that. I have to say this. That's where the line is drawn.
Isn't that what they're trying to do in Canada?
Yeah. Jordan Peterson is from Canada. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is.
So that's how he actually blew up. And I think he lost his, when he was working at the school, and all that. And obviously now he's just ginormous.
Yeah, he is.
I encourage everybody to check his stuff out because it's amazing. And if you don't agree with it, fine. Don't watch it.
Who cares? Guess what? We grew up in a time where we have telepathy when we were young and we talked about shit. Now everybody's scared to talk about anything.
Well, if you ever read George Orwell's 1984, it's all about language change, all about that stuff, and it's crazy. And they change history and all that, and it's just crazy how big tech, social media, especially Google, all that shit, how they do that in their own way now. It's fascinating.
If someone wants to be called face to face or call me a she, I'm like, okay, whatever, cool. But if I decide not to, and then the government punishes me for that, no.
That's the issue.
Because the word still has to mean something in reality. There has to be objective truths and objective falsities. Yeah. There just has to be.
Yes.
Or else a society cannot exist if you can't agree on the definition of words. It's that's like Orwell, like you said, that's Orwell to a T.
Yeah. Yes.
And then this is a little shift in convo, but Jeremy, you're an Elon Musk fan. What's your idea in like transhumanism and nanochips in your brain and like we're going into the future. Clearly there's a shift in
it's the beginning of the end for us is what it is.
You think so?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, I was listening to, I don't know if you guys saw, but Joe Rogan had on the guy from Facebook today.
Mark Zuckerberg. I saw clips. I'm definitely watching that tomorrow. I can't wait.
I listened to about half of it. He's actually, he won me over. I thought he was just that weird dude that was like this in court. A little sip of his water. Yeah. I was like, dude, this guy's an alien. And then I listened to the podcast today. I actually, if that's who he is, he's a genuine guy. He has 2 little girls, 5 and 6 years old, and then he has a ranch in Hawaii that he was at over COVID, learned how to surf, and then started doing jiu-jitsu, and he actually knows what's up. Like him and Joe were having a good conversation about that. And then he talks about at the beginning metaverse and like what it's going to be like with avatars and like the glasses you wear. Pretty soon you'll just have to buy these glasses.
Well, you'll have a haptic suit too where you'll feel.
Well, he's saying for entertainment, you'll just have to put on these glasses, and then bam, the TV will be on your wall. You don't need to buy a TV. Like you don't need to like. It was just interesting hearing him talk about all that, and then they talked about AI a little bit. I didn't finish it, but it's a good.
Well, wait till they get porn and you can actually like have sex with somebody, like AI stuff. That's when that stuff will take off. Like
yeah, but that's the downfall of society for sure.
Yeah, when you can literally.
We're already like so far under the repopulation thing. Like
yes.
That's like Elon's the only person like in prominent society that actually is a proponent of population collapse if we don't have more kids. And like every other thing is saying we need less people in this world, but society wise you won't have enough people to sustain the older population. Cities. It's going to be an upside down pyramid, and it's going to be goddamn shit show because you're just not going to have enough workers to produce for the world.
Dude, and that's already like the U.S. is actually in much better position than most countries just because we immigrate well and our replacement rate is pretty close to 2. Like it's close. It's not there, I don't think. But when you compare it to some of the other countries like in East Asia where the replacement rate's like under 1, dude,
isn't Japan like one struggling the most right now?
Japan, yeah, but they kind of figured it out because they've seen this problem coming for like 40 years.
Okay.
The Chinese are fucked, dude. Royally fucked. They're about to have like in the next God, I wrote these stats down, but let's just say for sake
they're going to be our bosses though.
By 2050, they're going to have for every pensioner, they're going to have 1 taxpayer.
For every what?
Everybody that's on a pension, they'll have 1 taxpayer to support that pension. Now it's like
a 1-to-1 ratio,
which is going to fuck society.
Yeah, because that's one person's like what 5% of their taxes are going towards that, something like that. Yeah,
by 2050.
It's very soon. Yes, because their population is old AF. Because for 30, 40 years they made it so you could only have 1 kid.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that happened there is the imbalance of women to men because they would like abort women, baby. There was a gender back then.
Now it's like 51% women to 49% men, which is in China. That's a difference of like 100 million people, like 200 million people. Yeah.
Don't they have 1 billion right now?
They have 1.6 billion, I think. India's about to pass them in the next
we need to take a trip to China, bro.
Have you guys?
So fun.
Thailand.
We can go to Taiwan. I can't go to China. There's no way I can go to China, dude.
They won't. Yeah, your flag, huh?
I've written way too much shit.
You can't just say coming back.
I can get in. Yeah, I'm just not leaving.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
But
yeah, you ain't going to China.
I just when I think about like when the AI and all that stuff, I'm very much under the impression of the old adage, World War III will be fought with, nukes and tech, and World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. I believe that too.
You do?
A T, yes. I don't think that endless progress is I think we think it's something that's just going to happen. I don't think so. I'm very much under the impression
if AI
that
ever
there will.
becomes sentient, if AI ever becomes sentient, like it is done. Like I
Jeremy,
don't know how that's going to be
Jeremy,
possible.
you missed the video I played at the beginning of this.
But that's the thing. Like when he says that AI is more dangerous than nuclear bombs, it is not. Like, I'm sorry, it is not, and it won't be for a.
Well, it is. Yes, it is. If it can shut down an electrical grid and then LA has no electricity for a month, like, could you imagine the shit show that will happen at that point in time?
But also, in half of a second, a nuclear bomb could destroy the entire West Coast.
Yeah, I'm scared of that.
Dude, Hiroshima killed 100,000 people, and now we have bombs that are 20,000 times more powerful than the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima.
20,000?
Yes.
What would cause them to pull the trigger on that?
Well, that's also the thing. If AI ever figured out how to fuck with that, then you have them working in tandem with each other.
Oh my
God. Humans in technology have always worked hand in hand. So this is just the evolution of that. But like, I just don't know. It's gonna, I just can't believe when I was in college, like, we're from Kansas.
What the fuck?
I got something for you, Jeremy.
At a top robotics company in Japan this week, 4 robots being developed for military applications killed 29 humans in the lab. And they did it by shooting what he called metal bullets. The scariest part is that lab workers deactivated 2 of the robots, took apart the 3rd. But the 4th robot began restoring itself and somehow connected to an orbiting satellite to download information about how to rebuild itself even more strongly than before.
What is this?
That's what my friend sent me. I'm like, dog, that's probably like 10 years old, I think. But no.
Yeah, all that's definitely gonna happen.
Dude,
sure.
There's a good movie with Ryan Gosling. I just watched it not too long ago where he's a robot.
Are you talking about Blade Runner?
Yes. I liked it. But like
great.
I haven't seen Blade Runner.
I do feel like I mean, I don't know when in the future that might be, but I mean it kind of seems to be leading that way.
Ever seen Ex Machina?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah,
that's a great one.
I started it again the other day. It's really good.
I guess I'm just under the impression that some a-hole is gonna like launch a nuke and cause the nuclear holocaust before that can happen.
So then we'll just go back to the Stone Ages and then figure it out again.
I had to bet if in 1,000 years it'll look more like Terminator or more like the Flintstones, I'd put my money on the Flintstones. If I had to pick between the two, that's just I have no empirical evidence to suggest that. That's just my inclination. So I could be completely wrong. I'm not a fucking genius by any means.
You could be very right too. It's very 50-50.
I mean, that's the thing about making a prediction 1,000 years from now. It doesn't matter because we're not going to be around to see it anyway.
Put in our time capsule and somebody can find that later. Yeah. Well, shoot, I went to college in 2005, and I got my first cell phone then. Most people had it before then, but we were in Haviland, Kansas. We didn't have. I had to go to the freaking Crow's Nest where they filmed the football games just to get service to talk to like girls I was talking to back in the day, if not on MSN Messenger. And dude, and then I got a flip phone, and you could do the T9 texting and like blah blah blah. And now we're 2022, freaking not that far from then, almost 20 years, but not quite. And the tech now is just insanity. Like. Even in IT, for example, like all the stuff that you used to do 10 years ago, it's totally different now. It's a completely different industry, and businesses are running. And like, so I don't know where it's gonna go.
Have you guys ever seen?
Like talking about Tesla though, it's crazy how smart my car is. They literally send. I've got the full self-driving, and they send updates, and every update you're like, holy crap, the car was not doing this before. It's amazing stuff. Actually, it's pretty odd. Like I obviously love it. But I don't know where it ultimately is going to lead us.
Have you guys ever heard
of got neural net? But go ahead, Aaron.
Have you guys ever heard of Project Bluebeam?
Mm-mm.
No, keep talking. I'm going to get.
Really? All right. Let me see if I can share this with you, Jeremy. Basically, Project Bluebeam is like the holograms and stuff like that. Whenever Tupac is on stage.
Yeah, they did that Coachella, right?
Yes, I believe so. But basically, I'll find a little Instagram that my friend, the White Rabbit, shout out White Rabbit, he made a collaboration of Project Bluebeam stuff that's been promoted throughout the years. And that to me is some of the trippiest stuff, because they can project stuff into the sky, like as if a spaceship is coming through, or they could fake an alien invasion, dude. Like, since we're talking
you've
about,
seen all the drones, right? Where they do that?
Yeah.
That's
we'll
pretty
check
awesome.
this out. Hold on, I'm almost there. Where you at, White Rabbit? There he is. Okay. Sometimes it's laggy when I play videos, and I hope this one's not laggy. But I'll just play you the video. I won't play you the sound. Skype, share screen. I hope it's not laggy, but here. You guys see that?
Yep.
So this is Project Bluebeam. What's up, White Rabbit?
Looks like a bat.
It is.
The dragon, Haviland dragon.
Oh yeah, there's a picture of like that
Look,
monster in the bay.
You guys see that whale? Like out?
Yeah.
Watch the moon. Gets hit by a comet. Boom! Like it's...
What?
Yeah. This is Project Bluebeam. This is basically hologram stuff that they can do. Look
No,
at
that's
this.
not hologram. That's software on a computer. People in real life aren't seeing that.
Oh, they aren't?
No.
Well, I'm an idiot.
It's CGI.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
but
CGI.
what if they can somehow...
That's real. That's real. Right
That
there.
is?
They have one of those in Seoul. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, we're getting to an area where they can manipulate what we see.
Sure. Deepfakes are going to be a big problem.
Deepfakes are going to be a huge problem.
Yeah.
That's real, too, because that's like...
Yeah. No, that's real.
Sorry. Let me try to zoom in. I don't know how good you guys are seeing it, but
I can see fine.
it's just nuts. I don't know. Like, yeah. But anyways, I'm just saying, since we're talking about technology, there's going to be a lot more weird stuff like that happening. Well, I'm going to have to collaborate both videos and put it together and
Combine both videos.
That's exact. Yep. Combined. Does collaborate really not work there?
No, I mean, no, it doesn't.
God, I'm
You
like,
try and make it work, but no. Sorry.
Jeremy, well, welcome to the Drewcast, bro. Any last words for my listeners?
For your fans.
Bro, Jeremy, your hair's looking fire, man.
Oh, it's coming in great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, talk
To
about
Andrew's fans, I got a hair transplant.
that. That's pretty badass, man. That's the one good thing about technology and stuff. Like,
That's
yeah,
the one good thing.
that's, well, I mean, you can get fake
Big boobs
boobs,
and
fake butts.
hairlines.
Yep, exactly.
Technology could have stopped at breast augmentation and we'd all been just fine.
A lot of them overdo it out here in Orange County. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
it's all good though.
Their lips look like they got stung by 1,000 bees. Freaking nuts.
Oh, dude, the lips. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Lips and fingernails and huge asses. It's like, okay, take a step back, girl. Like,
But I bet you her OnlyFans is killing it. But I'm thinking the 87,000, what is it? The 87,000 people that they just hired.
Subscribers?
No.
for the IRS.
They're gonna go after
Jesus.
OnlyFans chicks like crazy, dude.
I hope they do.
I really like the first time I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, those OnlyFans girls are screwed.
Lane, all right, before we go, Andrew, Lane, what'd you think? How can you believe they talked about having like concealed carries in like
Yeah.
for the job description?
Yeah.
Dude,
And
but
be ready to kill.
Like, must be okay with physical violence or what? I was like, bro, you're an accountant.
Yeah.
Like,
Good. Yeah. I just couldn't believe it.
Are they just scared somebody's gonna like roll into the fucking?
Who in America is like, we really need 87,000 more IRS employees?
Dude,
Oh my god, it's gonna be bigger than like
we left.
all the border.
We left to come to America because of too much government overreach, and we're
2%
literally
tax on tea.
Yeah.
And now
We went to war.
Yeah. And now we're
Literally.
37% taxed in California just by being in California.
Yeah.
37%.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh
at the end of the day.
Yeah. Since I'm
We are
turned 30,
not
the
a
amount I
serious
paid in
people.
taxes is like absolutely absurd.
Yeah,
It
and we
makes
used
you cry.
to battle over 2%. I don't know what happened to us.
Yeah, we'll have to get Chase on here sometime too. Talk Elon and all that other stuff. I could obviously talk for days on all the technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lane, you should join too. Political. There is the right and the left, and I lean more towards the right. I'm registered libertarian, but
They're two wings of the same bird.
Dude.
No, they're not.
The right does a lot of dumb shit. We're a bunch of pussies.
For
Bush.
sure.
But yeah, and the left has a lot to blame, obviously, as well too.
The left go after kids. That's where I'm done.
The frustration to me, where tech and everything's at, it's like we're like, we can't have conversations. Like, Steve Jessen, the guy that founded Big.
Shout out Steve. I get one view from
Steve.
Thailand every time.
Yeah,
what up,
yeah,
Steve?
yeah.
Get on the
Steve on
podcast,
here.
dude. I don't care that you're
He's got one of
left.
the best stories ever.
Yeah,
And
I love you, man.
He's one of the few that I can actually just have a conversation with, and I wish we could have more of it. Like, and obviously that's why Rogan's such an inspiration to. And shout out to you, Andrew. Freak, you were listening to him in like 2013, which is crazy.
Yeah, hell yeah. Shout out to Dusty.
Yeah. The saying. There's that saying of like, hard men make.
It's soft men make hard times. Hard times makes soft men. I fucked it up.
Tim Pool always says it, but it's fact. And like, we're in the soft men make hard times phase of it all.
Very much.
Yeah, and we're in cycles. Like, this is my first like cycle of like somewhat of a recession where I've actually been an adult, had money, had a career, had all that going on. It's been frustrating, lost shit tons of money, but this is also where you make money if you're really smart and can make good decisions in these times. So ultimately, and like I said about Atlas Shrugged earlier and Ayn Rand, it's like all this stuff she talked about in the 1940s. So it's just human nature at the end of the day. It's just with different technology, different times. And so it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out. But if we keep kowtowing down to all this stuff, like, yeah, we're gonna get overtaken. The West will not run the world anymore.
Nope.
And the consequences of that, if you're worried about your feelings getting hurt, like literally, like,
yeah,
people are so upset over Trump because he tweeted me things. And is he a narcissistic idiot? Yes. But he actually did. If you look at the policies,
America first.
He was a good CEO at the end of the day. A good CEO hires good executive team, good directors, and the company runs it runs good. And yeah, with that threat of you could get fired, you could lose their job. And we just have, with governments now, like, if you have a position, they don't get rid of stuff. It's crazy. They give you a budget, and if you don't spend all the money in your budget will get reduced next year. So literally, people literally waste money to get that budget for the next year. And so a lot of things are asked backwards. Like, I've been personally go to therapy for 7 years now, and I have to look myself in the mirror a lot and be like, dude, you're an idiot. You made some bad decisions, and call myself out on that. But most people don't want to do that, and like, especially when it comes to jobs and government security. Everybody wants security at the end of the day, but you have to work. You have to work to earn your way through this world. Obviously, there's a small population that can't, and yes, we should totally help those people. But to incentivize a nation to not work and to get whatever they want, you're setting yourself up for failure. And I'm afraid we're definitely in the middle. We're there. We're in the middle of that right now.
We're gonna learn our lesson hard and fast. Hard and fast, dude.
Yes.
Are we gonna be pushing wheelbarrows of money for a loaf of bread?
Our inflation it won't go to that level because the world economy is tied to the dollar right now. So I guess we'll see how if it shifts and where it shifts.
But that's
I'm
the
a big
thing.
believer in the crypto world. And I
But
think
the thing, that's the thing that people are like, why do we care what China does in East Asia? What do we care if they take over Northeast Asia and the shipping lanes in the Middle East? Well, the reason we can be safe to know that we're not going to have bread lines is because the world economy is tied to the dollar. Okay, now China is controlling the world economy. Do you think that we're going to have the same powerful dollar? No. And then we will have bread lines, and then we will be starving. Like, that's just what is going to happen, and no one thinks 2 steps ahead. The Chinese have a 5,000-year plan. We have a 30-day plan.
at the most, yeah, exactly.
Ugh.
I mean, you're right.
No, I don't know what the stats are. Andrew, you obviously know I was obsessed with Dave Ramsey from like 18 to 20, 24 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And I believe 80% of what he said was pretty solid stuff. The other 20%, you're speaking to the masses, so you got to take it as a grain of salt. But like, yeah, I'm curious what like most people have in their savings account right now. And I know when I watch
It's not a lot.
TV, which is rarely, it's only for sports every once in a while. They have commercials about overdraft protection.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, if they're talking about overdraft protection
That's
in
a lot of people.
fucking commercial, they're trying to talk to a lot of people, obviously. And the Bank of America has that data to make the commercial.
They'll
Who
also
knows?
show the bank
Who
account,
knows where
like
we're
your
at?
bank account will be good. And it's like 3,000 checking, 1,000 savings.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. That's where we're at, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I remember, I'll talk about something real fast. So when my brother-in-law Johnny, he got a $5,000 like unemployment check, and he came into my house, and he was asking us for $20. Yo, can I get $20? I need to put some gas in my car, all this stuff, like just a week prior. And then he found out he had this 5,000 in the bank from unemployment from COVID. And when he came over, I sat him down and I said, listen, Johnny, first of all, you're going to have to spend taxes on that $5,000. So don't spend it right now. Like, don't go out there and buy anything. And just save it. You've done good with just, you begged me for $20 last week. So clearly you've learned how to budget a little bit. Dude showed up 3 days later with like these brand new Jordans, this like zip up hoodie.
PlayStation 5.
Yeah, PlayStation 5. He's like, yo, I just put rims on my car. Dude was broke within like 2 weeks. And that's a lot of Americans, man. That's why you saw that commercial, Jeremy.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and that's why 2021 the stock market was just whoop. You just had all this money going to people and they're spending it. And then now we're feeling the consequences now.
Does that mess with 401ks pretty bad?
Yes.
Oh,
okay, so
yeah.
why invest in your
It's
401k?
down.
Why does everybody do that?
Well, from 2010 to 2020, you're up like 200%.
Yeah, but you retire in 2020 and then down.
Well, that's their cycle. So
all right,
you assume it's going to come back is the idea.
It's all assumptions.
Yeah.
All right.
If you invested that in Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, all those companies from 2010 to freaking 2020,
you're loaded.
It's 1,000x return.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. $100 you got 10 grand now. And my belief is crypto is that for now. But there's obviously a lot of shit coins and stuff out there, so you have to be very careful and like look long term. But
I invested
my belief right now is like buying Amazon after the .com crash. If you get the right ones. Obviously, there's shit ones, and they went to zero. Same back then, and same now. But with all this government overreach, we're not talking just the U.S. We're talking the whole freaking world. You just got to have, checks and balances there. And they can't touch that. They can't touch that stuff, but to a certain degree.
One last question. What do you guys think of Klaus Schwab and like the World Economic Forum? And like how he says by 2030 you'll own nothing and be happy.
Well, yeah, they want to make a permanent renter class.
They are.
Because, that's the idea, right?
Yeah, the idea is just like music. you don't buy a CD anymore. You just pay a subscription fee to access, and that's what life will be like.
They're
Okay.
communists, like by a different ilk. They're
They're
communists.
German
they're Marxists.
communist fucks.
Yes, I mean they are communists. They want to redistribute the wealth equally, but really what they want to do is concentrate the power in their hands so they can make your decisions for you, because they think that they have better decision-making skills than the average
So they're
idiot.
Democrats.
They're communists. Like they're not.
I get it.
They're not fucking FDR Democrats.
No, I know. I just
They're
being
communists.
sarcastic.
Like,
Yeah. No, they're commies as fuck.
Well, most Democrats and liberals, like, they feel altruistic doing all these things.
Yeah, for the
Like,
people,
yes.
for the plants.
Andrew, you and I know those people that freaking live in freaking
Society just doesn't work that way.
in
But
their
you're right.
gated ass communities, in their freaking $5 million house.
I'll call them out. He went after me like hard. I was just stating facts whenever I told him that one time, and he went after me tough. But yeah, he lives in a gated community and he votes for this Democratic shit because he votes with his heart, and I understand.
They genuinely feel like they're like helping, and it's unfortunately not the case 9 times out of 10. But
I'll beep that out, by the way. I'll beep that out.
You're gonna beat it off after we get off?
No, I'll beep it out. I'll just go beep. I'll have a big beep whenever I say his name. I love you, dude. It doesn't matter because I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be there, but I love that
guy. What guy?
Yeah, exactly. Well, the real issue is the housewives, because the housewives ain't doing jack shit, so they're at home, not doing anything. Not doing anything. They're raising a family, which is a big deal. But like
sometimes.
Not all the time. Like we actually, Andrew and I know these people. You know them too, Lane. Like literally, a housewife stay at home and they have a nanny, a cleaner, a cook. I'm just like, dude, what do you do? Like, we're a new.
Do you know Melania Trump never hired a nanny for her son ever?
That's because she's a badass.
Dude, imagine Biden's kids being Trump's kids. Could you imagine what the mainstream media would be doing right now?
Dude.
Oh my God. It would be
I wouldn't even know there was a Ukraine war going on.
Bro, I hope the CNN clean house. Oh, you guys had Don Jr. on Crowder?
Dude, he is so funny, man. Just listening to him rail on Hunter Biden.
You could go have a beer with and barbecue a steak and like have a good time. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And there's something to be said there. There's something to be said there. Like, dude, I actually know. I'm in Orange County. I know some of the richest people in Orange County, and you would have no idea.
Yeah.
The humblest, coolest people. I'm not even going to call out names because it's not necessary. And then there's also those pricks, like trust fund babies that are absolute pricks. So the core of all this stuff is like we've gone away from the family. We've gone to relying on the government, go do your own thing, and like that's where the core of this is like disintegrating. Like, so our time will be interesting. Trust me, Social Security, we ain't getting those checks.
Nope.
No. If you're banking on that, you're already fucked.
You're gonna be working till you're dead.
Yes.
You're gonna be at that 7-Eleven at 92.
Yeah, exactly. I go to 7-Eleven. There's an 80-year-old lady checking me out at the counter. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Enron got you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna end the pod. What any last words of like hope out of all this dark stuff? Lane, you're always texting me, hey man, let's be hopeful. Be hopeful. There's some hope.
There's all this wrong shit happening, but like you got to remember, like 70 years ago, the entire world was at war, and people that were 18 to 20-year-old were getting killed in Europe for like on the daily. And there were nuclear bombs being dropped over cities in Japan, and there were Jews in concentration camps. It was bad. The world has generally been bad, and it's gonna get bad again, but it gets good. Like there's cycles, and it's just how it is. Jeremy said it. There's cycles, and if you want it to be good, do something about it. I don't know if this is helping, but it's not like it's futile. resistance is not futile and hope is not futile. Like, somebody had to hope.
We're just talking about it. Just saying.
Well, the encouragement too, Lane, is like if your own individual world is not going the way you want it to do, you need to go look at yourself and make changes in that way, and then maybe expand it a little more outside of that if you can. But if you want to reach out and get a handout from the government, that's fine in time of need. But don't rely on that to be your saving grace till you're freaking 90 years old. If that mentality doesn't shift, we're fucked. But and that's the beauty of what America is we have different starting points. I don't care if you're black, white, whatever race, it doesn't really matter. We have equal opportunity. The opportunity is there. You may have to work harder than the other person.
Right.
But the thing is, if you go and bust it, the odds are looking good in your favor, and that's why America's the freaking best country in the world.
We still are the best country and the best hope for a good.
Yes. Completely agree. Did you lose 100%. Lane? I lost Lane.
It's all good. Lane froze up. Perfect timing. I'm going to end it. Everybody, peace out.
Well, Andrews fans, it was good to meet you.
All right, later.